UK bodybuilding is in crisis. With growing numbers of competitors opting for more accessible fitness-based competitions, and with controversy and discourse within the established federations in the UK, traditional bodybuilding is at risk of being squeezed out. But after 3 years away from the sport, 2 veterans of the UK bodybuilding scene are out to prove they'll do whatever it takes to win a British title.
I'm going to have to go Team Tom at this point, but don't tell him that.
There's always competition, isn't there? But that makes you want to be better.
He's judging, you can see he's still got the passion for it, he still wants to be up there.
Does Daddy get grumpy when he's dieting?
I have more titles than Tom.
This is not following a diet. This is not getting fit. This is not drugs doing the work. This is whatever it takes. This is prep.
Right, this is my Foreman. It's my Foreman grill. It's just a single grill. It's not clean, by the way. So essentially, I'll plug that in. It takes a couple of the steaks that I normally have, or a couple of the chicken breasts. I always carry a tub of protein around, a tub of peanut butter in the front of the car, so it's much quicker.
With a job that requires travel across the country, today is Paul's 3rd day away from home.
This is my 3rd hotel in 3 days. That does my head in. I have this bad luck thing where you can guarantee I'm the furthest away from the fucking lifts. A lot of people for some reason think I'm a bricklayer. I'm a database consultant, so I work on infrastructure management databases. I spend a lot of time at home, working from home. Upstairs I've got an office. But I do also travel a lot. This past week I travelled in a total of over 2.5 days, 20 hours. Like I said, I bring all my supplements with me and normally display them on one of the counters, so I don't know what the cleaning ladies think when they come and clean my room. And I've got my iLoad, vitamin D, ZMA, Ravenous, vitamin C, and that sort of stuff. So it's all that'll all get put out even for tonight. So tomorrow morning it's second nature just to grab everything, put it down before I have breakfast. But yeah, this is generally it, and this is the 3rd hotel this week. So slightly nicer than the other 2, being a Marriott, so I will enjoy my sleep tonight. But yeah, and then next week I'll do it all again, but in a different part of the country. The diet can be challenging, but after doing it for so long, I know what I need to do. I've been in my room prepping before, on my Jack Jones, eating cheese and pastrami, a protein fat meal, just cold out the packets.
I know that Paul finds it very difficult travelling a lot of the time. He has to be super organised. You know, he lives in a hotel for 3 or 4 nights a week, and so I think Tom does have an advantage in the sense that obviously he works, he's got a gym, so it's a lot easier for him in terms of food prep. But I think no matter what your situation, it's still incredibly difficult to diet and to get on stage. So I think a lot of it comes from how focused and how determined you are, and I think it doesn't matter where you work or what your situation is, if you're focused enough and you work hard enough, I think that's what's important, not necessarily your sort of situation. You have to adapt.
Back at Ministry of Fitness Gym, not everything is going as planned for Tom.
Where the tyre was, there was water coming from out the toilets underneath the tyre, underneath the matting, the rubber matting, and then it was a little bit onto the AstroTurf. So I had to, first of all, I had to move that fucking massive tyre, which is like 280 odd kilos, and I've got no strength because it's you know, diet time. So it took about 3 of us to flip the tyre over and put it away. Then we had to pick up all the mats, and the mats are 50 kilos each, and they're awkward because they're long. So trying to do that and not have a diet rage was a bit hard. Pulled them all back, and then there was water, just a little bit of water under there where the toilets have overflowed. So I got the George out, hooved it all up. Anyway, about 10 o'clock I had to nip out, do a job and come back. So I went out, and when I come back it had rained and half of Bristol's turds had floated out into the room, and it was just a load of water with sewerage there. I was sort of training on and off last week, and I got to Monday when all this happened, and I just realised I just forgot to take any of my anabolic stuff all the way through the week. I'd been obviously focused on work and everything else, and I was training and blah blah, and I just forgot to do any of my jabs. It was one of those things I was thinking, fucking hell, what else can go wrong? And funnily enough, as all this was getting sorted out and everything else, so I went training, and then it was all getting sorted out, and then someone goes to me, there's a mouse in reception, and I was expecting fucking Beadle to jump out and go, hey, Jeremy Beadle, and then go, this is your joke, Tom. We haven't really flooded your place with shit, and it was one of those days. Thinking, what else? And a fucking mouse. So then I had to catch the mouse and chuck it somewhere in the fence, and it was just completely random, absolutely random. Paul's just come from school. Where's your blazer?
I can't wear my suit, it looks like my dad.
After 4.5 hours on the road, Paul arrives for a joint cardio session.
I had to get 4 of us to move the fucking thing.
You could move it before you dieted. It would normally take about 3 hours, but the M6 was shut at junction 13, which was a real piss. I had to get out and get my food from the boot of the car so I could eat it.
With Paul having visibly dropped body fat, Tom is keen for another weigh-in, but after 3 days with no carbs, he makes it clear he's not in the mood.
I'm not fucking weighing in, you cocks. You can both fuck off.
Hey, what's happened? Put weight on?
Does it look like I put weight on?
Oh.
That's quite cutting, that, really, isn't it? I'm not in a bad mood. This is actually a good mood. This is as good as it fucking gets, I'll tell you now. It'll soon be more time we've been dieting than there's left to diet, so that's always a major like date when you've been dieting longer than you've got left to diet. So, and we're both checking the West as it comes, so we're not looking at the Britain yet. It's all about the West first. Getting that ticket to the Britain, and then 5 weeks from the West to the Britain. So Tom can be even more fucking conditioned. Genuinely feels sick. Look great. Fucking shy. Guys, as if the fucking show was this Saturday, right? Said it's as if the show was this Saturday. But this is where you've got to man up and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Whatever the mottos on Facebook are at the moment. I do this because I love it, blah, blah, blah. All this shit about no one's forcing you to do it. It's your choice. Of course it's your fucking choice. You know, it doesn't mean you... Everybody tells everybody everything on Facebook, but then everybody gets their arse up in a twist when someone goes, fuck, you know this dieting work? It's hard. You know? Oh yeah, but no one's forcing you to do it. No one's forcing you to eat fucking donuts, you fat cunt, but you're still doing it.
If I'm suffering on the diet, then everyone else has to suffer as well.
See, I don't think that's just how it goes.
You don't mean it to happen, that's just the way it is.
It's not a purposely thing that I make happen, it's just when I'm a grumpy cunt, everybody suffers.
It's 11 weeks until the show, and as part of the open day, CSN have invited Paul and Tom to take part in a new kind of DNA test.
It's a test that can basically identify, the human genome's been mapped now, so what gene A does, affect A. So when Paul and Tom have it, they'll be able to find out things like their muscle fibre breakdown, what type of rep range their muscles have the genetic capability to cope with, their natural VO2 max levels.
What we do is to take a little cheek cell sample, so it takes some of the epithelial cells from the inside of your mouth. Then from there we send it off to a lab where we analyse your DNA. So it literally takes 30 seconds.
It's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. It's recently come into vogue sort of thing in mainstream media. Mark says that Tom will have better genetics for condition and I'll have better genetics for not losing my hair. Well, to be honest, he's right.
Well, he's certainly got a better genetics for being a grumpy bastard.
It's good to see him getting back into it, although I think last time Paul was talking about competing that it was the time previous was going to be his last. I'm not sure how he's managed to convince Jen to accept another competition.
Bodybuilders always say that they're going to retire, but there's always one more show left in them. I think it's great, and the fact that they're training together and prepping together more or less, but actually going to be competing together, it just goes to show that you can be stood on stage next to your best mate. It's not as though you're going into a ring trying to knock each other's heads off. You can be the best of friends and still try and compete against each other. Perfect.
Whilst Tom is eating his meal in the storeroom of the shop, top UK trainer Mike Gelsei makes an offer that can't be refused.
Yeah, he's offered to be involved with the training that me, Tom and James Llewellin will be doing next Thursday.
What I'm going to do, I think, over the next few days is just gives me a chance to get my thinking cap on, Paul, and I can put something extra special together for them, I think.
Sounds a really good offer, and Mike's one of the best in the business, but he is quite evil, so I would imagine that back session to be really bad.
Paul will probably be late, because he's always late, and then he'll probably find some excuse why he can't do certain exercises, like the hard exercises. Probably end up curling some pink dumbbells in the corner while I train properly. And then he'll probably do some cardio and moan about that as well.
The guy who runs the restaurant that we're going to is one of Tom's clients, and he will weigh the food out for us so we know that we're getting the right split.
I don't normally do it because it's a minefield in terms of making sure the food's the way I want it. But every time I've come here, they cook the food exactly the way you want it. So if you don't want olive oil, you don't want this, don't want that, they'll cook it exactly the way you want it. Yeah, are you able to measure out, like weigh the potato? Paul needs a certain amount of potato. Are you able to weigh like
300? Yeah. Before is fine. Yeah.
And they even asked me if I wanted my spinach weighed out, but I don't need my spinach weighed out. This is part of the only restaurant I would come to on prep because of the fact that you can do all that stuff, and they won't cook the steak in sunflower oil or something like that. They'll cook it exactly the way you want it.
Some people might think that that's a little bit pedantic. What's it matter if it's this or this? And to be honest, it doesn't matter. But if you do it once, you do it again, and then again, and then again. And before you know it, you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day, 3 or 4 times a week, and then it does matter. So I'd rather be OCD with it all and know exactly what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and then I'm fine mentally, because prepping's really more of a mental battle than a physical one. Yeah, you're knackered, yeah, you're tired, but mentally, if it doesn't go right, then you might as well give up.
The problem is, you get here and there's so much nice food, Sometimes they're tempted by other nice things and not on diet.
After a long career as one of the UK's top pro bodybuilders, James Llewellin has recently returned to the amateur ranks in his quest to win the universe. And should they qualify, will represent serious competition for Tom and Paul at this year's British finals.
I'm incredibly competitive, and anybody that knows me that knows that I have to win at everything, whether it's a game of cards or a board game or anything. I've decided now to come back to the amateur ranks and to compete with a different federation and to compete with NABBA. Then the important one for me is really the NABBA Wales. That's the qualification to the British, the NABBA finals. So hopefully then I'll get a qualification for the NABBA finals. And my goal is to win the NABBA finals. You know, oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, saying that, I mean, they can fight it out for second place.
I first met James when he won the novice, which is now called the USN Novice Championships. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You know, I'd prefer him not to be in NABBA, you know. He's a great guy, he's a good friend, but yeah, I'd prefer him not to be in NABBA. He's not a big bodybuilder, but he'll come on stage shredded, and he will look fucking good.
The workout today will be a little bit different from probably what Tom and Paul are used to. Now I have a slight advantage in that I've been party to some of these exercises before, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare today. But it will be a great workout. Mike and Lisa always come up with some crazy shit, and it will be hard and it will be brutal, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody spews today.
Did you have your breakfast?
Yeah. Do you want to have a little wager? I'll get my £10 down.
Yeah, fine. What wager that I'll be sick or wager that you'll be sick?
I won't be sick.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah,
I'll take the bet that I won't be sick.
Well, it won't be me. I would probably say Paul, because I think he's the oldest, isn't he? Is Paul the oldest? Yeah, he's getting on a bit now, so he's possibly, his constitution might not be as tough. So we'll have to wait and see.
Before the training session begins, Tom and Paul load up on a cocktail of what is commonly referred to as pre-workout supplements.
It's actually called Pre by Optimal Nutrition. There's loads on the market, and they're basically just caffeine, sometimes a bit of DMA, which I think is now not banned again, which is basically geranium extract, and then a whole load of other things designed to buzz you up or give you more of a pump.
There are ones that stimulate you, give you a boost. There are ones that give you a better pump, and so on and so forth. There's many different kinds.
On Saturday there was 3, apparently. Is it before, during and after now? I don't know.
I do quite often say that my kitchen, some of my kitchen cupboards do resemble sort of Holland Barrett with the amount of supplements. Quite often they're a funny green colour or a funny orange colour. But yeah, these pre-workouts obviously help them get through a session after a long day at work.
When I was 20, yeah, I could have 2 scoops of the Curse, no problem. Now I have one of those, I have a workout, yeah, a good workout, and I'm straight to bed afterwards because I can't handle it.
Tom relies on them a little bit more than me. I have a couple that I go to. The Pharma Freak Rip Freak is very good. I've used the Super Pump by Gaspari. It's okay, bit delusioned by the word Super Pump to be fair, but it's okay.
The ESA's fun, yeah? Because at the end of the day, you turn
Yeah.
it back.
So pull it down,
pull down,
down.
The initiate,
and now spread it.
Lovely.
There. We're going to make sure the technique is right, because you know, there's loads of great training methods out there. And unless you're hitting the muscle properly, it all means nothing. So we started off with some pull downs, a couple of warm-up sets, but then, as you saw, what Lisa was doing was pushing up on the bar with the guys as the weight got heavier. So they weren't trying to resist. It wasn't forced negatives as such. We're really trying to open up the shoulder blades, open up the scapula, so this really stretches out here, So the guys pull with their back rather than pulling with their biceps.
I thought that was it. Is that not the end?
Let's get warmed up now. Then we went on to the superset of the bench rows. And again, we were trying to get that isometric squeeze to really target this area, and then go straight on to the T-bar rows and keep that as a continual pumping type movement. But again, really trying to focus on this lower lat area. Come on. Good.
I wouldn't like to say, but he did make a hasty retreat to the lavatory.
Then he went for a piss. Whatever.
And then we finished off with the rope pull downs, mimicking the double bicep pose. So you can see perfectly when James was doing that pose then, this is exactly what we were trying to mimic when we were doing those two exercises with the rope.
Go on, James. Go on. Yeah. Come on. Come on.
It's different.
Distinctly sickly smell around here. Fuck off! The whole workout we did, there was no massive weights in it. And you see the size of James, he's huge, bigger than most guys you'd ever see in a gym. And we're only doing what, 20 a side on the football bar, and then only 20 on the T-bar row. But you see loads of people in the gym smashing on weights on the T-bar row, and it's almost a shrug up, and they're just doing nothing for their back. But all the stuff we've done today was light, but it was all controlled and focused.
What are your thoughts now you've seen the competitions?
Well, I just want to put out there, me and Tom don't mean James any ill health because he's a good friend, but just not really a break, but more of a sprain, just so he can't actually continue.
Or like a nail in the foot, perhaps.
Yeah. So he just can't continue, but he's not like physically damaged.
No long-term damage.
Yeah.
Next time on Prep.
I'm going to really make them suffer today. It's a bit that time now. I think we need to start to step up the tempo.